my name's Jared Anderson. I'm the harbor master for the town of Carolina Beach. Carolina Beach the harbor is a 130-acre body of water that the town has jurisdictional authority by legislation by NC state. And my day-to-day operation is basically I'm the town liaison to anything that happens in the harbor, whether it's mooring field operations, municipal marina. There's 15 working marinas, 150 or 1,500 boat slips. So anything from oil spills to derelict vessels, it's different every day. Derelict vessels really are not unique to Carolina Beach. You'll find them anywhere there's a desirable destination for boating. My career, I spent 29 years in the fire service, and I can tell you that the best way to deal with fire is to prevent it, and derelict boats are no different. So the day-to-day operation is really looking at derelict provisions in the code and enforcing them and trying to prevent vessels from becoming abandoned, sinking, or running aground. So that's probably the biggest part of what we're doing. So let's take a look at a case study I have. I have the vessel Florence. Florence is a 40-foot sailing vessel. Had a local owner. You know, it was outside of our jurisdiction, so I was really aiding in this with this vessel. Had no working motor. It was uninsured. It was spared from in 2024. Coastal Federation came through and was looking to clean up boats, and it was on the list. And it went through North Carolina Wildlife, and somebody claimed ownership of it. So it was spared from that cleanup. The boat sat in the ICW for months unattended, and it was really just kind of looking to drag anchor. Tuesday, July 2nd, Florence drug anchor and damaged a private dock in the Seabreeze area. And it was really only a 23-mile-an-hour wind. It had some gusts at 30 miles an hour, but it drug anchor and did a lot of damage to private property, and sat aground for a while there. Had we been able to enforce the derelict provisions, no working motor, dragging anchor, no navigation lights, we probably could have taken action on it and gotten it removed, but it sat. So then this vessel on July 3rd got some assistance. The private property owner paid for assistance to have the vessel removed, and it was dragged back out into the just outside of the ICW. It's an area we call Area 159. It's by marker 159. So it sat there for a little bit longer. July 4th, Florence ran aground on the east side of the ICW, which is Freeman Park. It's much like the Masonboro area. It's a protected park, and ran aground and did some damage over there, and sat there by Aton 127. That was only a 12-mile-an-hour wind. Again, these things sitting unprotected without someone on them to look after them, they move around. So then on July 13th, Florence was making its way towards the ICW and ran aground at Inlet Watch Yacht Club, and the anchor road basically cut off the entrance to that marina. There's hundreds of boats in that marina, and effectively closed that marina for a better part of the day. The marina operator went and took the boat and brought it into their marina and put it in one of their slips to protect it. They effectively took control of that boat and the management of that boat moving forward. The owner decided that they didn't have the resources to get rid of the boat, and the marina was stuck with the boat. So we assisted the marina with getting Coastal Federation funds to have the boat removed. This is a great example of if you're only going to have a provision that is for removing abandoned vessels, you're going to have derelict issues, and you're going to have damage to private property, and potential navigational hazard, and private citizens getting stuck with damage. We couldn't go after the owner for federal littering charges because it was on private property. So it's the day-to-day operation, it's dealing with things like this. Having a qualified captain that has towing experience on staff is critical. Or you're going to have the resource of the budgeting to be able to hire a marine assistance company like Sea-Tow or someone to come in and assist you with these. When these vehicles or these vessels run aground, are taking on water, you have to be able to tow them to a safe marina where you can hold them safely, or they will sink. So it's kind of a big undertaking for a jurisdiction to have that kind of either the skilled employee or the salary or the budget to pay for that. And a lot of jurisdictions are scared that they're going to take on the risk of the vessel once they start moving the vessel. You have the risk already. It's time you have to move the vessel and get it to a safe place. It's much cheaper in the long run to get it to a safe holding facility until you can get the vessel either back to the rightful owner or removed from your harbor. Change really came when the town really just became fed up with people dumping boats in our area. They were coming out of marinas. People were getting free boats or $100 boats and thinking, hey, this is a great place where we can go live. And it was accessible to food, jobs, and there weren't a lot of really strict regulations that were being enforced at the time. So they got sick of, boats at anchor, the pollution that was coming from it. So we very much modeled the Brunswick model, the Brunswick County, and they were having great success. And at the time, Brunswick County kind of came over and helped us out with, hey, this is how we're doing it, and helped us kind of build the program. It's been very successful. We've moved 25 boats in the last 3 years with the support of the Coastal Federation, NC Wildlife, and the Coast Guard. I came on we have 15 marinas in Carolina Beach, and several of those marinas, when people weren't paying their rent or somebody just wanted to get rid of a boat, they would just haul it out and put it on anchor in the harbor. And we had to stop that. So we got the Coast Guard involved. We started implementing the code process that we had. We went to all of those marinas and started building number one, we stopped the problem. We were like, okay, this has got to stop. And then we partnered with them and educated them on looking for and figuring out, hey, what boats are at risk, and then partnering with how do we remove these boats and get them out of here without dumping them, and finding resources for them. So it's been an effective tool to kind of stop the dumping. Of the 25 boats that we've removed, every single one of them has a story. And some of them are kind of heartbreaking. You see people getting boats that they think they're going to move on to this boat. This is going to be their new home. And the dream just doesn't come to reality. You have people that get boats for cheap and they're going to fix them up, or people just can't afford them anymore and they just walk away from them. So having it's tough to hear these stories and what people are going through, but we have codes in place to protect the community, protect the public trust waterway, and have to enforce them. And we have gone to the point where we've charged individual with felony littering because we've gone to them and said, hey, this is your vessel. We know it's your vessel, we've got ID, and they walk away from it and say, no, I'm not going to deal with that. So it's tough. It's a tough balance because we're protecting the public waterway, and sometimes people, have to be held accountable. There's absolutely a balance with town policy and providing a safe harbor. There are people who come that need re-provision. There's people who are coming to us because they have to repair their vessel and they need to stay for a while, or they're running from a storm and they need safe harbor. So there's the balancing act of how do you, so that's where you're on the water daily, you're communicating with people, you're informing them of, and educating them, hey, these are our policies, this is what you'll be held accountable to, but I understand where you're at and we're gonna work to help you out. We have a ton of resources that, we hand out phone numbers and, hey, this is a great diesel mechanic, or, come on into our dinghy dock, we'll get you to the grocery store. But there's a balancing act of not letting vessels that are dragging anchor or just being dumped, or people not doing pump outs. You have to protect that public trust waterway. So if you have a waterway in your jurisdiction, this is not an ancillary duty for, I've seen it, town employees, it's sometimes pinned on the police department or sometimes the town manager's office. I've even seen planning divisions having to deal with abandoned derelict vessels. Harbor masters in Carolina Beach, we have 2 harbor masters. We're on 7 days a week. We take calls 24 hours, and it is a problem on Christmas Day. I mean, you're gonna have to deal with issues. So we're spread thin. It's not, managing it is cheaper than dealing with the consequences is really what I believe, because I look at what now we're preventing versus what we were dealing with in the past. So don't treat abandoned, don't confuse abandoned vessel terminology with time limits. A lot of people will say, okay, well, it's abandoned in 30 days, so we'll let you sit for 30 days. It's not a good strategy. Set clear time limits and enforce them. If you want to be effective, you have to prevent the vessels that have derelict issues. So having derelict provisions in your code and enforcing them daily. Florence was a perfect example of that. Florence would have never happened if there were derelict provisions in the area where it was sitting. Every day is a new scenario. It is, I could not make some of this stuff up. I couldn't write this script. Every day I come to work, I'm like, just, wow, that happened, okay. You need to have a solid code. You need to enforce the code and reevaluate the code. Sometimes you're going to have the code or enforcement procedures that just don't work, and you're going to have to go back and reevaluate and figure out what is going to work. I would say that you start with the Coastal Federation toolkit. If I'd had that 3 years ago, I would have been in a much different position today. And I'm learning things from the toolkit that we can even learn from. So it's a great resource. I'm really excited about it. Educate your community. The community needs to know what you're doing out there and why you're enforcing and why it's important to them. You need to educate your homeowners that live on the waterway to, if they see something, say something.